Hey, what's up everyone? Pete the Guttural Monk here. I know I'm a little over a month late with this video, but this one's going to be my top 10 of 2020. I'm going to talk about a couple EPs and of course a couple of reissues at the end of this video as well. But before I do that, I wanted to just mention, find me on Instagram. I'm there a whole lot more than I am here on YouTube. Alright, before we get into the top 10, I want to do honorable mentions from 2020. These 5 are going to be in no specific order. Just 5 incredible albums that didn't quite break my top 10 list. First up in the honorable mentions, US heavy metal. This is Eternal Champion with Ravening Iron. This album came out super late in the year. If I would have spent more time with it, it absolutely would have ended up in my top 10. Eternal Champion is one of the best heavy metal bands that are active right now. This is only their sophomore album. Absolutely check this out if you're a fan of any kind of heavy metal. It absolutely fucking rules. Invincible Force, Decompose, Sacramentum. This is some absolutely aggressive thrash death metal from Chile. This was released later in the year on Dark Descent Records. Same story here. If I would have spent more time with this, if I had this album with me in the summertime and into the beginning of the fall, this would probably have landed on my top 10 as well. Don't sleep on this stuff. Go back and check out their first album, Invincible Force. Absolutely killer shit. Another honorable mention is Necrot with Mortal. This album sat in my top 10 for the better part of the year. It wasn't until a lot of the later albums kind of knocked it off of a pedestal. Absolutely killer death metal. The song Sinister Will is probably my song of the year. 10 Crimes put this one out. This one came out super early in 2020. This is Warp Chamber with Implements of Excruciation. This was put out on Profound Lore. Insane, spacey, technical death metal. The vocalist sounds like an absolute fucking wind tunnel. Incredible album. Unfortunately, the length of some of the songs kind of prohibits its replay value for me just a little bit. With that said, I spun this album a ton in 2020. Check out Warp Chamber. Last up on the honorable mentions list, this is Obscene with The Inhabitable Dark. This was put out on Blood Harvest last year. Killer US death metal with a, total dehydrated sounding vocalist. Picture early Asphyx. Really fucking awesome. Upbeat as hell. Fast, almost punky songs. Don't sleep on this one. Alright, so now I'm going to get started with the top 10 releases of 2020. I'd love to hear yours in the comments, but this is my list. If you want to make your own, do that. I encourage you to do that. Tag me in it. I want to see it. First up, this is number 10. This is Gorephilia with In the Eye of Nothing. This was put out on Dark Descent Records last year. Absolutely killer Finnish death metal. This is their third full length. Raul Gonzalez cover art. Really fucking impressive stuff. They definitely channel Dominion era Morbid Angel on this album, but it doesn't lack their signature sound as well. Gorephilia, In the Eye of Nothing is my number 10. Number 9 is Cirith Ungol with Forever Black. This album comes after a 30-something year hiatus. These guys are OG as fuck. US heavy metal done so well. This album absolutely blew me away from my very first spin. I'm absolutely enthralled with what they were able to do with this album. They played to their strengths. This is raw, and this is what Cirith Ungol sounds like. Cirith Ungol, Forever Black. Next up is number 8, and I promise we'll get into the death metal again soon. This is Rope Sect with The Great Flood. This was put out on Iron Bonehead. Fucking infectious. This is their first full length. It did not disappoint. Really fucking emotive. Clean vocals through and through. It has a dark, somber rock atmosphere to it. I don't want to be pigeonholing them in any genre. Don't sleep on this stuff. Check this one out. Rope Sect, The Great Flood. Next up at number 7, this is Undeath with Legions of a Different Kind. Unbelievable debut album. Their 2 demos from 2019 were beyond impressive. They ended up on my top list together as one unit. They did not disappoint with this album. This is pure fucking death metal, done extremely well. Undeath, not much more that needs to be said about this one. This is my number 7. Coming in at number 6, this is Sadistic Drive from Finland with Anthropophagy. Absolutely killer death grind album. This album got so much mileage with me this year. This was put out on La Caverna Records from Colombia. Those guys are doing some amazing stuff. They're unearthing some incredible gems like the Sepsis demo that they did in 2019. I have my eyes open to what this label is putting out. You guys should too. Some of the most catchy riffs of the year are hitting on this album. I can almost guarantee you guys haven't checked this one out yet. If you have, let me know, and let me know how fucking awesome you think it is. Check it out, Sadistic Drive with Anthropophagy. Sitting fat at number 5, this is Faceless Burial with Speciation. This is the second but not final Dark Descent album on my top 10 list. What a fucking year Dark Descent had in 2020. Faceless Burial was no exception. The riffs, the progressiveness of this album are absolutely huge. Grooves in every fucking song that just hook you and make you press the reset button so you can hear it all over again. Beautiful production, incredible musicianship. Faceless Burial, Speciation is my number 5. Number 4, and the first appearance of Profound Lore on this list, this is Caustic Wound with Death Posture. This band features members of Mortiferum, but it is not a slow death doom band whatsoever. This is absolutely in-your-face, aggressive, and extremely well-written death grind. This album really gets me motivated to get off my ass and get something done. This was out early in 2020. You've had plenty of time, but it's still not too late. Check this shit out. Caustic Wound, Death Posture is my number 4. Number 3, and no surprise to me that this one would be so high up on my list, this is Undergang with Aldrig I Livet. This came out super late in 2020. Dark Descent Records yet again. Undergang is a band that just gets better and better with every piece of material they put out. These guys are from Denmark. They need absolutely no introduction. If you're a fan of death metal and you haven't been listening to Undergang for a couple years at this point, stop what you're doing. Check these guys out right now. Damn. Number 3, Undergang, Aldrig I Livet, Dark Descent Records. And to go from an album released super late in the year to an album released back in January, this is Coffin Curse, Cease to Be, out on Memento Mori. Unfucking believable. I'm so happy that I gave these guys a shot. I was blown away by this record. This is one of my most spun releases of 2020. Number 2 on my top 2020 list. I can't say enough good things about Coffin Curse. If you haven't heard it, check it out for yourself. 2-man group from Chile. Coffin Curse, Cease to Be is my number 2. My number 1 of 2020, this is Of Feather and Bone with Sulfuric Disintegration, Profound Lore Records. War metal meets death metal meets black metal. I'm not going to try to put them into a genre. They just don't fit in any kind of box. This is the most extreme and aggressive release that I heard last year. The first track, Regurgitated Communion, is just one of the best fucking songs, period. It gets me in the fucking mood every single time. These guys bring they bring the fucking crushing riffs. They sandwich everything together in a way that not many bands can, to still make that kind of total chaos sound cohesive. Don't let the war metal tag scare you. This album is fucking special. Of Feather and Bone, Sulfuric Disintegration, Profound Lore, my number 1 of 2020. Alright, so I'm going to quickly mention some of my favorite demos / EPs of 2020. Just 3, no specific order. Astrapharius, The Lower Levels of Sentience, Costa Rican Death Doom, done extremely well. This was put out last year on Pulverized Records. Check this stuff out. Atrahasis, Antediluvian Prophecies. This is what you're listening to in the background right now. This is out on Desert Wasteland Productions. Probably my favorite straight up demo of all of last year. Absolutely killer stuff. Can't wait to see what this band does next. Exaugury, Chasm of Rapturous Delirium. This is out right now on Nameless Grave. If you guys are fiending for new Dead Congregation, new Cruciamentum just like I am, this will scratch that itch. And last but not least, I want to mention a couple of reissues. To me, reissues are extremely important, and the albums sell out before you can get your hands on one. Obviously, the older stuff is very hard to get your hands on, so reissues are clutch. I welcome them as long as they're done well. Mortuary with Blackened Images, reissued by Iron Bonehead. Gutted, Bleed for Us to Live, reissued by Repulsive Echo. Merciful Fate, Don't Break the Oath, reissued by Metal Blade Records. Eternus, Beyond the Wandering Moon, reissued by Soul Seller Records. Devourment, Molesting the Decapitated, reissued by Corpse Gristle. Unanimated, The Ancient God of Evil, reissued by Century Media. Varathron, His Majesty at the Swamp, reissued by The Devil's Elixirs. That's it for this video. If I had to sign off with something, a couple wishes for 2021, I'd like to see new music from the following bands: Dead Congregation, Cruciamentum, Wormrot, Crypts, Horrendous, Funebrarum, Disma, Cadaveric Fumes, and Thantafaxa. And that's it, guys. Till next time, cheers.